All right, so we are in week 7. And for this discussion, we are asked a couple questions um, about reproduction. Uh, which reproduction technologies are the most puzzling or difficult to decide about? And how will you go about deciding which ones are good to use, which ones you would forego? So, when I come to this conclusion, I think that there's more than just the methods or the ways of going about it. Uh, so I think that every situation is different, and I think that um, there's no difference in choosing if your kid's going to be tall or only having kids with a partner who is tall. I mean, either way, you're making the decision. Um, and you might be blonde and wish that you were brunette, but both your parents are blonde. Well, they made that, you know, decision knowing that you probably were going to be blonde, and that was against your will. You know, um, there's also ethnic, you know, things too. Like, I'm a quarter black and three quarters white, so I have one daughter, and her mother is black, so she comes out looking predominantly black. And then I have other daughters with that are white, and they look 100% white. So those were choices made going into that I knew was going to be an outcome. So there's no difference in selecting that in an embryo and choosing that as there is doing it in real life. I think that there is a thing of, I do believe in natural selection, survival of the fittest. So um, I think that over time, that the genetic traits that are best will become more prevalent in society. Americans now are taller than they were when they first arrived on the first pilgrims arrived on the on the East Coast and the Mayflower. The Yeah, like you take a look at those ships, like they were built for small people, um, and that's because we like to have tall kids. It is a desirable trait. So there's no difference. And you'll see it in nature too. I think that God has a way too of stopping things that shouldn't happen. So clones sometimes can't reproduce. Mules, they're superior to donkeys and horses in some areas, but they aren't able to reproduce, and they're completely man-made. Um, but then you also see in nature where they are genetically chosen to be a certain thing. Where you look at ant colonies, where they'll have worker ants, they'll have fighter ants, they'll breed queen ants, they'll breed male ants just for breeding. So I think that this is something that's going to happen regardless of if it's at a genetic level or if it's just through natural selection, that these desirable traits are going to happen. Um, you see a lot of resistance to diseases now because the people that weren't resistant died off. It's just how it works. So the only thing you would be doing is accelerating the process. So as long as you're doing it in a responsible manner and you're not doing it um, wastefully or with the intention of not creating or helping guide a better human life, um, then there's no harm, no foul. Um, where it would get dicey is if you started doing it um, just for scientific research and then aborting the lives after that. But then that it could even be dicey because, I mean, if you were to raise the child and let it go to full term and it was raised by extreme hypothetical Nazi family, is it necessarily going to live a better life and be a better person than if it died as a child or in as a fetus? And a lot of Christians believe that until a child becomes old enough to understand and accept Christ for themselves, that they go to heaven. So is it better for them to go to heaven through abortion, or is it better for them to be raised full term and then be godless? That's another moral decision. There's lots of points to it, but I think that um, Everything should be allowed. Just over time, only time will tell what works and what doesn't. And I think God has a natural way of eliminating the things that should be eliminated and allowing the things that should be allowed.